What's up, everybody? This is CheekyCP. This is episode 15. The challenge was to create a beat without any samples at all, but we had to keep it at 65 BPM. So
CheekyCP with the hits.
okay, all right. So that's the beat. So there's a lot going on, and I got limited time here, so I'm gonna try to break it down for everybody. A couple things. There's like really three different versions or areas of this beat, and the first one, the first part of this song, I wanted to kind of showcase how, yes, it's 65 BPM, but if you think of this as kind of in halftime, where there's a consistent beat on, or a consistent hi excuse me, hi-hat or something, excuse me, whoa, on every single beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all the upbeats. Basically, you could create a track that's kind of condensed where you're gonna feel this bounce going on. P's beat had a little bit of that, if you heard that one as well. So it basically sounds kind of like I'm using semi like a trap drum kit, and I'm just using 808 to kind of create this like big heavy boom 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 boom. So that's the bulk of what was created in the beginning. So I mean, 65 BPM, like you could rap over that. You know what I mean? It's not something to stray away from if you create the beat the right way and keep things rocking with a hi-hat. So I actually created that other part, the middle part of the song first, and came back to create this. So I borrowed a lot of the melodies and harmonies and shit from the second half of the song and try to bring it in. So the whole idea was to keep that bounce going and then focusing on really two different things. One is this melody that you'll hear right here. So a couple of things, all this came from a chord idea of 3 chords, and it's really, really funky. So the scale I'm using is really, really funky too. And I used this Logic preset called Waves Motion Bass, and I fell in love with this thing. This thing is so, so cool. So. So it sounds amazing. And then I just doubled that same MIDI and just copied it down and used the flute, which is the Mellotron in Logic. And that flute sounds pretty good. It sounds like a tape Mellotron, and it kind of sounds fake, but it has that like 70s vibe to it. So I just doubled up the melody and then panned them. One is 30 degrees to the left, one is 30 degrees to the right. So you get left and right going on. And then at the very back of all of this, I wanted to just kind of create like weird noises. So I scratched a little bit on some vinyl that I got here. So if I had more time, I would actually take the phrases that actually are in time and kept them. But I just shoved this way in the back to create some sort of like element of space there so that you could kind of hear something happening way back. And there's nothing really more to that part. The first third of this beat is just that. It's just boom, 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 and then that melody. The other thing I incorporated and I'm in love with, and it's really just me trying to learn this, is the arpeggiator. So it's rhythmic. It could create some like really cool rhythms. It sounds a little too like robotic in video game music sometimes, but I don't care. I know that there's like really cool stuff that you can do with arpeggiators, and I need to learn how to use that. The second part of the song is, this is really the beat that I started with, and it really felt like 90s, like sneaker pimps type shit, like really groovy. I don't even know. Like I mentioned to the guys, Boards of Canada is like this acid synth group, which is like experimental psychedelic stuff that I didn't even know about until like 3 years ago, which is pretty cool. If you guys haven't heard about them, Boards of Canada, listen to them. It's just instrumental music. It's really good. Anyways, the second part of the beat is where I play the bass, and that's the foundation of this whole track. So I'll play it. So that's the line. It's just going through 3 chords that I built this on. And then I have some really, really cool patches. I'll play these patches for you because they sound amazing. This is, I don't even know what the hell this is. Let's see if I can figure out. Short Plucky Synth is what this is called. So I'll play this really quick. Oh, that sounds amazing. Come on. I mean, whoo. So I really am not a synth guy, but the more I play with these patches, the better I start loving all this stuff. And then this is a lo-fi keys. It's called Old Fragile Vinyl Keys. So you get that like lo-fi-ish type of sound going on. And then the other things I used were just the same kit that you heard in the beginning. and I use the same melody that you heard in the beginning as well, but it just has a completely different vibe going over this groove. So I got those chords rocking there, and then the arpeggio is back, but arpeggio is actually at a different tempo. So if you hear the arpeggiator, again, we're in outer space. So the third part of the song is this little bridge here, and the whole idea, this is just simply an idea that I took everything that you hear from this bar 25 through 41, the main part of the groove that I made, that like 90s sneaker pimp shit, and I bounced that whole track down and I came up with a track, right? So that track is right here. And then what I did was I chopped it. So I don't even know if I could actually see that. So I still don't know Logic enough to actually figure out how this works. So bear with me here. So this is the chops. These are the different chops. I have 17 different chops. So the idea was, this is a challenge where there's no sampling. So in order to just poke fun at the challenge, I took the whole track I made, bounced down the wave, and then chopped the wave. And then I came up with what you hear right here, right? So that is this chop, right? Here we go. I'm just gonna solo the chops so you can listen to the chops. So that is the beat that you hear right before it, just chopped, right? So I'm playing that right now on the MIDI controller. So the idea was just keep playing around with those different chops until you feel and hear something rhythmic. And that's what I heard was. And that makes up like that portion of the song, just with a different beat under it. So the beat changes up when you hear those chops. And it just, I built the beat around that section. So it sounds like this. And then the rest of the song just fades out with that main joint, which is really just rocking on this bass line here. I will say that I'm starting to get in love with all these like synthy sounds and these chords. So I built a little bit of chords, accenting those chords. I'm sorry, strings, accenting the chords. All right, that's my beat. I'm gonna open up to everybody.